What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your weekly podcast where we touch on the hottest topic with a touch of what, Terence?
With a touch of Ask Me Anything episode.
Oh, yeah, sure. Wow, that intro felt damn off, sir.
Yeah.
What the hell was I even saying? I think it was grammatically incorrect also. Where we touched the hottest topic with a touch of, and you said, ask me anything.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think we just wanted to keep everyone in suspense.
Yeah, that's
it was actually the AMA episode, right?
Yeah, correct. Because it is the AMA episode. It is episode number 300, man.
Yes, number 300.
300 episodes.
I realized the last AMA we did was actually 250, right?
Yeah,
So
I thought it was
wasn't
200 also.
Yeah, I thought it was 200, but actually it's only 50 eps ago. Wasn't that long, but
Oh, only 50 apps. Listening to us like uncles, like, only 50 apps ago.
yeah, it wasn't as long as I imagined. But
Yeah.
okay, we're here.
Yes.
So we might as well do it because I think since the last AMA it's like it's a different world we're in already,
Yeah. Because 50, assuming an average of maybe 2.5 episodes a week, 2.5 episodes a week, that comes up to about 20 weeks. 20 weeks.
Yeah.
5 months
Yeah.
ago, 5 months ago.
Yeah, half a year, I guess. Yeah.
Half a year, yeah. A very different time. Back then, we were still facing some restrictions. I think the war between Russia and Ukraine had not started yet. The whole crypto market was booming.
The whole stock market, everything.
Stock market was
booming.
about, that was before the decline.
Yeah.
Wow, now it's a fucking whole different world, man.
Different world, inflation, petrol prices have doubled and everything.
And your
It's
throat
crazy.
was also better last time, six months ago.
Yeah. 6 months ago, my
Right.
kid hadn't gone to school yet, so he wasn't bringing all these strange diseases home.
Yeah, Terence was functioning.
Yeah, I wasn't falling sick every other week.
But your throat is still not 100%.
It's not 100%, but that's the sacrifice that I make for the Yalabad audience.
Yeah, for the Yalabad audience. Yeah, I think this week people were getting a bit nervous already, and we didn't release the episode by midweek. And people started posting on Reddit. But yeah, Terence had a bad throat, but we are back. Episode number 300, man.
But on that note, actually, there's somewhere else you can also find us, if we're not here.
Yeah.
And where is that?
It is on our parallel show, sister show, brother show that we started a couple of weeks ago with Andy Chen called NFT with Bubble Tea. And it's not that we're trying to jump on the NFT bandwagon. It's just an episode where Terence and I kind of try to understand the NFT world with the help of Andy Chen, who has his own NFT company. And we take the approach where we ask the layman questions, man. Right, and I mean, now I'm sure everybody knows that the crypto market is kind of like going through a winter of sorts. Maybe now is a time where, the more information the better, and we just released our 3rd episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting episode. I think you gotta give people, any new podcast needs some time to find its footing.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to find a footing as well.
Yeah.
This podcast,
And
so do check it out. Yeah.
It's the same format. We speak about 2 topics every week. We kind of throw some jokes, but we still talk about some technical stuff. And wherever you find this podcast, you can find that podcast as well. Cool. Yep. All right.
Awesome.
Cool. So what's going to happen next is we're going to be reading the questions that our dear listeners have posted on our Reddit, on our subreddit, calling for questions. I think we have 30 plus questions. And some very interesting questions, and we're just going to work through them as quickly as we can.
Yeah. Firstly, we'll sort them by top, meaning if people upvoted, downvoted them, and then Reddit sorts that out.
Yeah.
And then we'll answer them in that order, right?
In that order. And the link to that subreddit thread is in the show notes.
Yes.
But yeah, hopefully we get through everything. So shall we start, man?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Okay, first question.
First question.
From Tiramisu Matcha, 2 weeks ago. Hi, I'm currently catching up with Yalabad episodes because of exams. Just wanted to check if you two have any plans to conduct another event.
And that was supported by Kumar Babu 1919, who replied, "This is important." So I guess
Yes.
this is in relation. The another event is in kind of with reference to the event we held earlier this year at the National Gallery, which was our first Yalabad live event,
Yes.
where we recorded a 30-minute podcast in front of a live audience, and I mean I had a fucking great time.
Yeah,
Right.
it was awesome.
It was awesome, and I think of all the shows at National Gallery, we sold out the fastest. So I mean, if you ask me, I would love to do one very soon.
Yeah, so I guess the question is whether do we have plans to actually appear at another event rather than conduct, because conduct would mean that we have to produce it and set it ourselves and all that. I mean, I think we would never reject any, chance to appear at an event and do something related to the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I think everyone is all events are starting to get back to their feet as well, right?
Yeah, correct.
I'm seeing a lot of like partying and events and pop-ups happening all over again in Singapore. So who knows? Maybe with more events coming up, there'll be more opportunities for us to do something again.
Yeah. So I guess what we're saying is that if an opportunity arises, we definitely are up for another event. I mean, sometimes I think how cool would it be if like we have this thing like every quarter we have, I don't know, like a venue partner or something where okay, we will definitely have a show every quarter or every 2 months. And it becomes like a thing, I think it'd be so cool to have like a physical space, because stand-up comedy, you have comedy clubs, you have open mics and all. It'd be cool like if there's just a venue where could be like a, I don't know, like a, doesn't have to be like a Esplanade or something, but something smaller. So if anyone listening, you have you know of a venue or you own a venue and you be open to chat, hit us up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's something very special about a physical event. I never thought recording a podcast in front of a live audience would be that fun. Yeah, but it's fun,
works,
man. Yeah, it works.
yeah.
It works.
All right.
Yes.
Second question. I'll just go ahead.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Tomato cultivator. Do you guys believe in the paranormal? Do you have any first-hand experiences? And Kumar Babu, 1919, he replied saying that Terence once mentioned we were filming at a hotel in Geylang and there was some scene at a bar and one of the extras supposed to duck behind the bar, then something happened. So maybe Terence can retell this story. Apparently this incident gave a lot of people a real fright. So yeah, I think I have shared this story on one of the AMAs before. So that's something that you can listen to if you want to hear that. But Haresh, do you believe in the paranormal?
But no, why don't you just give a quick TLDR version of the incident in case people...
No, I want people to actually listen to it on the AMA. I'm sure it's always better when you hear the original telling of it, right?
But then which
Rather
AMA?
than a TLDR.
Like we have done 4 AMAs, dude.
Then listen to all 4 of them, man. It's because it's a separate thing from that. The one that was not, it's a story, but that one's not. This is a question about whether we believe in the paranormal.
Okay. So you're saying for the sub question, you go to the AMA. For the main question is what we'll focus on, lah.
Correct, yeah.
I see. So you're saying for me the paranormal.
Yes, that's right.
I would say I believe in like, I don't know, like another layer on top of human consciousness, whether it's energy or something.
Jesus,
no lah.
Ooh, sensitive.
No, I mean that one like is a whole different thing. Like religion to me is separate from paranormal.
Oh, okay.
And paranormal is separate from like this energy thing lah. So do I believe in ghosts and spirits and that there are people lingering around? I would say no, but I believe in just something that we cannot yet explain, like the unexplained lah. Yeah. So the only
so you don't believe in the paranormal lah, right?
Yeah, I don't believe in the paranormal.
Because paranormal, to define it, I guess, would mean specifically events or phenomenon that are beyond the scope of normal scientific understanding.
Oh, but no, then I do. Because I think there are things like...
telekinesis or clairvoyance.
Actually, then I do believe like telekinesis, clairvoyance. I think that there is something there, but I don't believe in ghosts.
Okay.
Yeah, and first-hand experience, like I've been in situations where people say they saw something, but I didn't lah. Yeah, but what about you?
I'm generally skeptical of most paranormal stories and things like that. But there are people who tell me with a very straight face that there's a ghost sitting in the corner of the room right now, that kind of thing lah. You know, those people that and then in just because I study psychology and everything, I always try to think what is it that could be making them feel like that or think like that now lah, right? And because the human mind really has quite an ability to conjure up things that are not there, even when it's totally against your five senses and everything lah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not inviting it or looking forward to having a paranormal experience or anything like that. But right now the evidence points against everything. Like most of it can be explained generally with science or something to do with the human brain or what lah.
So you don't believe, ah?
Yeah lah, don't believe lah.
So I guess that gives even more context for why you guys need to go listen to the AMA where Terence tells the Geylang story, because it did give us a fright. And if we left it at that, it would have become folklore for future sets lah. But then we found out what actually happened, and it wasn't that frightening.
Yeah.
But then it's an exact example of like, oh, you think that this happened, but if you dig a bit deeper, there's an explanation lah. So I think, I mean, even when you look at how you say all these things about when the moon comes out, then people turn into werewolves and all that. I think there is research to show that on a full moon, because of the additional gravity of the moon or something, it does affect something in human brains lah. Like there's some correlation with that, and during an eclipse and all that. So all these old wives' tales that you have heard, they can be explained lah. And then I was just thinking, like, for someone to just say, hey, I see a ghost in the corner. I mean, for all we know, they might be able to, but it's kind of like a power trip also, right? Like if you don't like the conversation, you just say, hey, I see a ghost behind you. Then you can just freak people out.
That's true. Yeah, it's a quick way to just say, hey, everybody look at me.
Yeah, that's
right? Yeah. Hey, everybody look at me. I got special powers.
Yeah, I was just on set today, and someone was sharing the story of how he was on a shoot that was focused on paranormal activity, and they did the Ouija board, and he said it really was like something was moving it. But then I was like, I mean, you were with two paranormal investigators, whose kind of street cred depends on the existence of paranormal activity. So it would be in their best interest to ensure that there is some paranormal activity lah.
Correct. Yeah, there is a definite bias, right?
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe tonight we'll get some visits from some folk. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, a couple of nights ago, I thought I was, experiencing that whole, like, sleep paralysis thing where you feel like somebody's holding you down and not allowing you to wake up.
That was your kid,
No. Then I woke up and I realized I was dreaming that I was sleeping. You know what I mean?
No.
As in, it was like a dreamception kind of thing.
You were dreaming that you were sleeping?
I dreamt that I was asleep and couldn't wake up, basically.
How the fuck you dreamed that you were sleeping?
No. As in, you dream that you were very fast asleep and that you were struggling so hard, you just couldn't wake up, you were trying to move and everything.
No, but...
And then you wake up and then you realize, oh shit, it was just a dream.
So then what was happening in your dream? Were you looking at yourself from a third perspective, a third person view, or?
No, I think it was still my POV. I could sort of see like a figure like trying to like hold me down or what. And,
that means you weren't asleep lah.
No, I was asleep.
But you dreamt that you were asleep, then how you see the figure?
In your face lah.
But that means you're not asleep.
No, but I'm asleep. Then I realized I'm asleep, yeah.
No, but you dreamt that you were asleep, and then in that dream of you sleeping or where you were asleep, you saw a figure. That means your eyes are open, right?
That is true, yeah.
What are you talking about?
That is true, yeah. So that's where I say the mind has the amazing ability to confuse your inner experiences between the first layer of dreams and the second layer of dreams. It's very Inception-ish. So and then I realized, I can totally imagine if I if I was superstitious and all that, I would have thought, oh, I just got visited by a spirit, lah. You know?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And then if I met you for lunch and if the conversation was getting boring, you could have told me that, and
I
then
just told you that.
then I'll be like, oh fuck, okay lah, Terence, tell me your
Whoa.
story. Tell me your story.
Yeah,
okay, big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so
correct.
TLDR, we both don't believe in the paranormal.
Yes, TLDR. Okay.
Yeah.
Come,
Okay.
next
cool.
question for
Next
you.
question. Well, from Quirky Sill, what is the most newsworthy incident that has happened in your lives? Wow, newsworthy.
I guess the deeper question I want to ask you is, when you say newsworthy, does it mean that it has already gone out in the news already?
Yeah, because no, I think maybe probably not lah. Because okay, so I mean, thankfully we have been in the news quite a bit over the years, right? So I'm guessing it is none of those lah.
For
Maybe.
for yourself, you're saying?
No, for you also lah.
No, I thought for you it was like Subaru challenge.
Fuck
or
you lah.
something.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say. That was not gonna be my answer. You said it. You brought it up.
Okay,
I didn't say
everybody.
anything.
Put on your seatbelts. We have 15 minutes of a Haresh's Subaru challenge story coming up.
It all started when I saw the ad calling for, but no lah, no. Newsworthy. Oh,
Yeah, that's not newsworthy, lah. That's not
yeah.
newsworthy.
I mean, it did appear in the news lah. Let's be
But
honest.
it wasn't worthy of being news.
Yeah, it was okay. It was. It was. Don't belittle my efforts.
Yeah.
But most newsworthy incident that has happened in your lives. Most newsworthy.
What when you say something is newsworthy, right?
Yeah.
I think what do you think that means?
I mean, just something that people
Deserves
would want to read about lah. People would want to read about,
people would want to read about.
or
So
people.
I guess
Yeah.
I think a lot of the positive stuff about what we do using comedy and all that is newsworthy, right? In that sense.
Yeah, but not
right?
boring lah.
Why is it boring?
Because I mean, then people know already. This is a Ask Me Anything where people can understand us from a deeper perspective.
Oh, okay. So you're
with-
saying let's exclude all that
Yeah lah,
that
that
goody two shoe stuff lah.
Yeah, that one is
Okay,
just
okay.
like blowing
Go,
our
go.
own trumpets, bro.
Go for it. I have an answer.
I like one thing that comes to mind is that when I was in Sec 2, I was on a hockey trip for the national age group team. So it was the under 15 team, and there were the kids from all the schools around. We went to Seremban for a tournament, and it was at night at 11:30 or something. We were all hungry, so we wanted to go get a Ramly burger. So all 20 of us went down to walk along the streets of Seremban lah. Then we were walking. Then someone just said, "Hey, where you all going?" Then my teammate said, "Hey, jalan." Then the guy was like, "Jalan," which is Malay for like walking. Is it jalan? Oh, jalan. You get the fuck down. Then we're like, what the fuck happened? So in the end, he and his partner were cops undercover lah. And I think he thought we were in a gang or something. So you have this group of 20, 14, 15-year-old boys getting scolded by the police on our knees. And all of us were fucking scared because we thought, oh shit, are we not going to go back to Singapore and all that? Then we were there for like an hour getting scolded, getting our pockets searched and all that. Then our coach had to be woken up in the middle of the night at about 2 a.m. Then by like 4 a.m. we went back and we didn't go to the prison or jail or police station or anything. So, I mean, I can see how that maybe like, a bunch of 20 Singaporean kids going out at night, getting stopped by the police. That's one thing that came to mind. That happened in 1998, I think.
How is that newsworthy? Like,
Why not?
Why would anyone give a shit? It's like
Hey,
it's like
it
any
was-
story of any group of kids going out and just getting like.
no, but
questioned by
when you got a
authorities.
group of Singaporean kids in Malaysia, I can totally see that in the news.
Oh,
Totally
come on.
see that. You might not read the article. No, you might not.
Would not make
No,
the news at
it
all.
will
It's
be.
not
It could be.
newsworthy.
If we went to the police station, it would have gone to the news.
Okay, so basically,
Almost newsworthy.
you don't have anything that was actually in the news, lah, right?
No lah, I don't have. Why your story? You appear in the news, is it?
Yeah. That I was briefly mentioned in the whole thing, lah. Yeah.
Okay. Then go on, Terence.
Mine was also about a group of students who went on a field trip. It was an ODAC trip, lah. And then in Pulau Ubin, and the long story short, there was a rafting accident that happened. and actually 2 of the students passed away during that field trip. So I was actually one of those students in that whole group lah. And it was it was newsworthy because it was a very big deal back then. It was front cover news and reporters and policemen and counselors, kind of like a month of counseling sessions in school and everything. So it was it was I mean, it was newsworthy lah, as ugly as an incident as it was,
That is true.
Then, yeah, so that made me also realize that just being in the news also isn't necessarily a cool or fun thing also, right? Yeah. So
Okay,
that is newsworthy, right?
Okay lah, that one I can't fight that lah. I can't fight that. Yeah, now my story sounds like lame lah.
Go McDonald's, or a bunch of kids go McDonald's.
Hey, not McDonald's. We're going to get a Rumbly burger, okay?
Oh, Rumbly burger, badass. Wow, they are like taking
Rumbly
drugs.
burger at midnight, no. Midnight. Yeah, so... Wow, so that means for like 20 plus years, nothing else newsworthy, eh?
It's okay. You always have Subaru Challenge.
Fuck you lah.
It is
No,
the one.
you know what?
It's really the one conversational icebreaker that I think works
That
across.
you keep on
everyone.
using. I think you ascribe more value to the Subaru Challenge than me, even. I mean, you tell your friends even when I'm not there. Like, someone who went to the Subaru Challenge.
You know my thoughts about it. Like I only use it if I need to go toilet or something. Then I'll just bring it up so that I have like 15-minute gap to go toilet. Because I know by the time I come back, you'll still be talking about, then I picked up my hand and it looked like a burger. I know all the beats already of the story.
I can't wait till that one,
take a shit, they come back, and then you're still at the hamburger part.
No, I can't wait till that one TV pitch of mine that I put together for a pitch actually gets greenlit, and we have to do a whole fucking TV show about this that you will executive produce with me and direct. I can't wait for that day, man. I can't wait for that day.
Yeah. Let's see. Subaru Challenge is still a thing by then.
It'd be like a relic, a relic that 20 years in the future will be studied.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Then the next question. Would you like to take this?
No, go for it.
Okay.
I did 2, then you can do 2. I do 2 at a time.
Okay. This is from Traditional Ice 7913. Hi, just for fun, if Singapore org decides to close shop, which nationality would you take up? Okay, there's a few questions. 4 questions. Maybe we just rapid fire through the questions. So if Singapore closes shop, which nationality would you take up? Wow.
Okay.
Let's see.
Wait, are you reading the other questions first?
No. Like we go question by question.
Okay.
Which nationality would you take up? UK.
Which nationality would I take up?
Yeah.
Wow. Don't know, man. I'll be a refugee first, lah.
Then don't deflect the question, lah. Just rapid fire, dude. Rapid fire. Don't
No,
think.
but it's
China, is it? You're gonna take China?
no, definitely not China. Definitely not China.
I would say UK. Just without doing much research, I would say UK. Oh wait, no, fuck.
actually, maybe
No,
New
UK is not.
Zealand.
No, what?
Yeah.
Say again.
New Zealand, maybe.
No, I wouldn't say UK because UK is not going to be part of the Euro anymore.
Oh,
The EU.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Screw that. I've heard Portugal has pretty good
yeah. Actually,
offerings for new citizens.
I heard Portugal. I've heard Dutch also.
Netherlands.
Netherlands pretty good for family and all that as well.
Okay, I would say Portugal. Portugal at this
Yeah,
point.
actually, you're right. I think actually it's very important to think about how the society views new citizens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So even a
Portugal.
place, as much as I love a place like Japan and all that, they're not very receptive to, naturalized citizens, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't think it's a place you want to move to.
Yeah. So final answer,
Yeah, final answer. Yeah.
which is what?
New
Netherlands.
Zealand. I mean Portugal.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Portugal. All right.
Netherlands, yeah.
Second question. How do you explain Yalabad concept to an alien community such as the swarm community in Love, Death, Robots, where they evolved to be the most efficient to survive? I just finished Love, Death, Robots, and the swarm community is basically, this alien race that has no emotion, has no thing, but just based on logic and efficiency lah.
Okay, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, but that
episode.
that's not relevant to the question lah. It's just
Oh,
to aliens
okay.
lah, to aliens.
To
How do you
aliens,
explain
okay, I
Yalabad?
think they were being asked why, in its most efficient terms, like why should Yalabad continue to exist, lah, right?
Sure, yeah, can. Yeah lah.
So what's your quick fire response to that?
I would say it is a it is a recorded conversation between two people who try to look at issues from every perspective possible for education and entertainment. Okay, that's mine.
I think it teaches people to be more open-minded when talking about things. Yeah, okay. I think that if I was begging for survival to the alien community, that's what I would probably pitch.
But then you never talk about the format and how like it teaches people. Like can be one person standing on the corner of a street teaching people also.
Can also lah, yeah. So you want to keep? I'm deliberately keeping a bit vague so they don't realize that it's just two people talking. Then they be like, okay, tell us about your methods.
I think you'll get executed.
When they have follow-up questions, then you nailed it.
I think you'll get executed. So it'll be on me to carry on the thing with the aliens.
Okay. I think it's okay. The aliens. Maybe I will. Maybe if Singapore all closes shop, I'll go alien. Yeah.
Go alien.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But what?
No, yeah lah. That's the rapid fire answer.
Okay, third question. Who do you think is the most Yalabad minister in Singapore? I'm guessing. Oh, so minister, not just member of parliament, minister. So senior minister of state counted?
Yeah. Consider, yeah.
Who is the
They're
most?
part of the payroll.
I
mean, for me right now, only Dr. Janil has been on a podcast minister and he understands the concept of the Yala and the Bud, right?
Yeah.
So if you ask me who's the most Yalabad, yeah, he's the most Yalabad. Shout out to Dr. Janil.
Yeah, I would say that as well. I'm trying to think. I was thinking, is Tharman Yalabad? But then Tharman, he's just a solid politician. I don't know why he's Yalabad. And I would say, yeah, Janil also. Only because he's the only minister who has agreed to come on our podcast so far. So that in itself makes him a Yalabad minister.
But and he displays that level of self-awareness that was very surprising for me lah. When I interacted with him, having interacted with him, everything, and all the listeners, I think a lot of people have commented that listening to the episode just almost made him seem like humanized him lah.
Yeah, and not like the insincere self-awareness that you sometimes get when speaking to public figures. Like you can tell, okay, this is just a front. So yeah, Dr. Janil, man.
Yeah.
Okay, lastly, how do you maintain dialogue in your podcast without long silences and without awkward, cringy questions and answers? How, Terence? How?
I think the thing is that you enjoy talking a lot lah, right?
I do.
And yeah. So I'm not someone who has a lot to say, but sometimes by the time, even when I formulate my idea, I still have to sit there and wait for you to finish your point before I can even say anything. So there's almost no chance for there to be silence, you see. I have a lot of time to formulate my points. Yeah.
I was hoping that you'll give a more diplomatic answer. Basically, you made it sound like I can't shut up and you have to punctuate my long monologues from like just going on forever lah.
No, I remember you are the mercurial renter. Yeah.
I was going to say like, we both have learned to be open-minded and as compassionate as possible, and we respect each other's opinions. You basically just said I'm a motomouth that can't shut up lah. That's how we go about without having long silences and without awkward and cringy questions and answers.
No, okay. Maybe if you want me to be a bit more to be a bit more sincere about it lah, I guess, rather than just shitting on Haresh talking all that. Exactly. I would say is that we really try to when someone says they feel something or they think something, we really try to break it down lah. What exactly is it you feel? How does it relate to something you felt in the past? Why is it that you feel like that? How do you think your family will feel if they know that you feel like that? How do you think your whatever will feel if they know you feel like that? So it just makes when you say that I feel something, it just makes it so much more relatable for everyone lah, right? And I think that's the essence of conversation lah, to really dig deep and understand what these feelings are from. Because I was just in a dinner, having dinner with some friends yesterday, and they're all, all educated, highly educated professionals, everything, some lawyers and things like that. And there's a lot of conversation going on, but very little, like, that follow-up question about, like, why do you feel like that, or why do you think like that. A lot of smart answers about things, but they never ask deeper about why people are feeling like this, lah. And I think that's the difference between how I hear a lot of conversations outside and what we are doing here in Yalabad also, lah.
Yeah. I think because when we started this podcast, we were very intentional about, okay, let's just try and think about things from a different perspective. Which means that by agreeing to do that format, we already know that, okay, we want to hear counter perspectives, even if we don't agree with it, lah. And I would say when we started this podcast, I think even I was maybe not as open-minded in my non-podcast conversations, but by doing this, it has made me more open-minded. And I think then it feeds off itself, lah. Because in this case, if we were doing this podcast and I totally disagree with you and I try and cut you off, then I would be hurting the podcast. Which to me, I'm like, no lah, cannot. Like, we started it with a perspective, with an intention, we need to stick to it. But yeah, then I realized, oh shit, there's actually some benefit to really listening in actual real life.
Yeah. And not always expecting there to be a winner and a loser in a conversation, right?
Yeah,
in a debate or anything,
Yeah.
So I've been part of debates also where one side just wants to win, doesn't want to listen to the other's points, and a lot of times they're just arguing in parallel, lah, and it's after a while it's very tiresome, lah.
Yeah. And I think one thing, just to build on what you said earlier about the deeper questions, I think one thing from doing this podcast, from doing folklore, from doing stuff like a writer's room where we are with people and we want people to kind of be open, is that if you share a bit about yourself that is like kind of vulnerable and just put yourself out there, it makes it so much easier for the other person to do it. And sometimes it's almost like a hack to conversations. If you want to build rapport with someone, just share a bit about yourself, something personal, and I guarantee you more often than not the other person will be more willing to chat, and then again it just feeds off itself, lah.
Yeah, but personal doesn't mean dick pics or anything like that.
Yeah, no. It's more like the personal stories. That's why. Yeah, don't fucking take this. Oh, these people from Jalabad told me to be personal. Okay, here's my dick pic. Don't do that. Especially if you're in conversation with someone you haven't met. Yeah. No dick pics, please.
No, pull out your phone and something. Yeah, let me show you something.
Personal stories and not stories about your dick. Okay.
Yeah.
Just personal stories that make you feel vulnerable. Yes. Cool. Okay. And the comment ends off with, thank you and appreciate for providing informative entertainment through your podcast and other media. You're most welcome, man. Cool.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Sweden, 7 days ago.
Yeah.
What's the most annoying trait you dislike of each other? Okay. I mean, sort of, I guess I'll just read it out since it's related. How do you maintain being friends and yet, colleagues, business partners at the same time? Because some people know better than to mix work and relationship because of the damage it could do to either or both. How do you guys make it work? Yes, so Haresh, the floor is yours. The most annoying.
No, you go first, lah. You ask the question, you answer first, lah.
I asked the question, I answered. That makes zero sense. I asked the question, you should answer.
You read the question. So
I read the question, you should answer.
Why are you so scared?
I'm not scared. I'm just letting you have the floor on this first.
Okay, so question 1, the most annoying trait. I would say that you like sometimes Terence can hold on to his opinions very strongly. And it's not just when it comes to conversations, it's like new apps or new platforms or new kind of like suggestions to do things a bit differently, lah. Yeah. But so that's one thing that sometimes I feel like, Terence, just trust me on this. So it always takes quite a bit of work. Not always, lah. Quite sometimes. So that's one thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Now your turn.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
I think it's the anxiety inducive nature of how you're very about like knowing when everything is where everyone is and everything is what's happening at every time, especially when we have like a meeting coming up or something. And everyone's sort of on the way there, and then you get there like a little early. Then you just start to overshare. Hey, I'm here already. What's your ETA? Then I'm going to sit here, and then blah 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 blah. I'm going to blah blah. And other people are like still on their way there, and maybe fighting through traffic, or getting very anxious about things because you're like texting so much. Hey, do you want to eat? You want anything like kopi or blah, 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 that kind of thing. So it's just a little it's a trait lah. So it's annoying lah, but it's not terrible or anything lah. It's just annoying because it just adds to more anxiety when people are like really trying to like get to a place on time and everything lah.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is we have both shared that about each other in other conversations.
Yeah.
Like I know you find that annoying about me, and I think you know that I find what I said about you that I find that annoying also lah.
Yeah. Correct.
So which is a good segue for the next question about how we still can work together and be friends and business partners.
Yeah. That's a tough one. That one's deserves a long answer that could take more than just like a quick answer on the podcast, right? But I mean, maybe if I had to do TLDR version, it's when you're friends also, the good thing is you kind of like you need to watch out for each other also lah, got each other's backs lah,
Yeah.
So in general, sometimes your gut can tell you whether something you're doing is something that a friend would do or is not something that a friend would do also lah, right? And a lot of times that gut has also helped me realize, hey, some people they're really just out here to exploit you as someone that they work with or what lah. They're not interested to be your friend or anything lah. So yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I guess over time you sort of understand. Okay, somebody has his so-called moral bearings are there, and then you learn to trust and everything as well, right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case for me also. I think the context is when we first started working together, right? We were not super close friends, right? We knew of each other. We used to meet up every once in a while, but you were not someone that I would just call if I got some issue or something lah. I think I don't know. It would be different maybe if we were best friends. Then we started working together.
Yeah.
So I think that was one thing that starting off like okay, we became very close friends after working together, and I think that does play a part. Because it almost started. Okay, we were more like we were definitely friends, but it was more okay. We both were jumping into this head first. We knew what we needed to do, and it was work first, and then through that came the friendship lah.
Yeah.
And I think over time also, like the same like what you said. I think just seeing the core values that are aligned, and even though we disagree on a lot of things, I think there is a lot of trust that has been built up over the years lah.
Yeah.
And I think but even then I can imagine people still having a lot of issues. I think like one thing I do feel is that we're quite honest with each other about things lah, and how we want to do things. And I don't think there's ever a time where one of us just goes off a tangent and takes an entirely different direction on their own lah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
it's always like we check in with each other a lot lah.
Yeah. Because I think the understanding also is that anything, anybody with like trying to run a business and having to work with people and all, you need to eventually have to build up a so-called brain trust as well, right? Be a very core group of people that you trust, that you will run every decision by and all that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, when you get to that point, then it's a very rare thing lah, and it's important to just keep at it and see any blind spots or fault lines or anything lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a constant process lah. There's no magic bullet answer to this question. But it's a lot of work also, lah, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And I think like one thing is also help is like having like my fiance actually kind of like there are times when I'm damn pissed off with you, but then she tells me like why you pissed off? And then she knocks some sense into my head lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have her to thank also, Terence.
Of course.
If not, you'll be receiving a lot more messages from me.
Now I ask you, you quarrel with your fiance.
Yeah. But yeah, like, we've been working together like almost 11 years since the day we started MOF, but about 8 years since we went at it full time. That's fucking long, man.
That's very long, yeah.
Yeah. But
But
yeah.
yeah, it's been. Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. It's like there's no magic bullet answer lah. It's really so I really respect those those people, bigger groups that have managed to make it work lah. I'm talking about bigger groups. Even when you see your like imagine your favorite bands and everything staying together, into their 40s, 50s, touring together and doing living together in a tour bus and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It takes something like it takes sacrifice, it takes compromise, it takes a lot of communication.
Yeah. But it's definitely possible lah. It's
Definitely possible. Yeah.
Oh, but that was a good question, man.
Good question.
Cool.
Let's do it. Next one is But Then Hall. Congrats, guys. 300 episodes. Thanks for filling up 300 hours and more of my life. 3 questions from me. What is your ultimate one Shiok thing you like to call out from your life in general? Not for the week, not for the year, but for the entirety of your life. Number 2, who is the ultimate guest you'd like to have on your show, dead or alive? Number 3, if your children ever want to do their own podcast, what would you think of that? Would you feel happy or would you discourage them?
Wow. Okay. So one by one.
Sure.
What is your ultimate one Shiok thing you'd like to call out from your life in general? Not for the week, not the year, but for the entirety of your life. Wow. One Shiok thing. Woo! What is the one Shiok thing? Do you have an answer?
I mean, okay, I assume that you're not talking about like saying that your fiance or your kid or anything like that lah.
Yeah.
Ultimate one Shiok thing.
Ultimate one Shiok thing.
The one experience that we would recommend everyone to try at least, like if they can, once in their lives at least lah, right?
Yeah.
I would say skydiving. I think skydiving is one Shiok thing that not a lot of people actually end up trying, but it's fun. It's fun, and it's something very very liberating about the whole experience. Very almost feels like meditation when you finish with it. Yeah, a bit cliche, but I excluded all the emotional stuff like fatherhood and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
I would say, if I'm thinking about it as an experience, I would say traveling alone to a country where you don't speak the language without any plans. You just buy a ticket and show up there for 1 week and then figure it out. Yeah, I think that is something everybody should try. Of course, like there are safety concerns and whatnot, but I think everybody should try that. Like you should not speak the language, you should know nobody, and should make no plans beforehand. Yeah, that would be one Shiok thing.
Bring protection.
What kind of protection?
I mean, just general, like your knives and everything lah. Protection.
No need lah. I mean, okay, pen knife all can lah. Pen knife all can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be cool.
Okay.
Okay.
The second question is ultimate guest you'd like to have on your show, dead or alive.
Ultimate. Who have I had? I would say Larry David.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I was probably gonna say probably Ricky Gervais lah, if anything.
Gervais.
But Larry David would be amazing lah, actually.
Yeah,
Larry David would be more interesting because he's such a recluse.
Yeah. He's the co-creator of Seinfeld, the creator of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and just a genius lah. Genius.
Okay, awesome. We have a combined answer, Larry David. Yeah.
Larry David. Man.
Yeah. And
okay.
if your children ever want to do their own podcast, what would you think of that? Would you feel happy or would you discourage them?
What's your answer given that you have a child?
No, sure, man. Of course. I mean, go for it, man. Like, and make sure you keep doing it. Get to 300 episodes. Don't give up halfway. And find your own voice. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for me also, if they want to do it, yeah, you do it, but you give it a good shot lah. Don't just do one, then come back after 3 months, do another one. No, man.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, for you to read again.
Okay, Crispy Gauntlet. Yalabad will be at episode 300 when this gets answered, but if we include the top 5 episodes of The Mushroom, wouldn't it be technically 305 now? There are 2 more, but I'll just address that first. Yeah, it will be technically 305, but that was a different kind of show. That was the first iteration of our podcast. It was guest-centric. For us, Yalabad is its own entity. It's its own baby of ours. So it will be episode 300. Okay, then, by the way, episode 1 of The Mushroom is a roller coaster ride. Fakafaz was hilarious in there. Terence was a lot less chatty as compared to now. Haresh just being Haresh. Topic jumped from B United to Verpet to the Haresh hallucinating during the Subaru challenge. Can we get an episode of Anything Goes like this
I
again
knew it would come up.
on a slow news week? Please explain what's Verpet again so that the innocent listeners won't get marked by FBI for searching that term online. Wow. For those of you who maybe have not listened to it, it was our first attempt at doing a podcast with Fakafaz as our first guest. It was 2 hours and 32 minutes long, I believe. And it was really, there was no structure. It was just a free-for-all. It was super fun. But I think, we've actually kind of done that with guests before. But yeah, if it makes sense to bring a guest and end up doing it, yeah, I wouldn't be averse to it lah. Because that one was really, we were just talking about all bunch of shit lah.
Yeah. I think we were just going for, we were trying to clock I don't know, 2-3 hours, whatever. But since then we realized the sweet spot is about an hour to hour and a half max.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So we also don't want to go too long because people are going to tune out after a while.
But how do you feel about them saying you were a lot less chatty than you are now?
No, in any conversation where there's more than 2 people, one person is going to be speaking less, right? And Fuzz is he's a big presence in the room. Haresh is he I think at a point you also were very always you knew Fuzz quite well by then already, right, as well. So a lot of times they were just riffing off each other and just they were doing the whole improv thing of yes and blah blah blah. So a lot of the times on Yalabad I'm the no but that personality lah. So when there's 2 people going yes and blah blah, it's kind of like I didn't want to merely be a downer and then okay no let's talk about that kind of thing lah. Yeah. So it's a different format. So I think my way of speaking or asking certain questions probably was less suitable for that format as it is for the current format we have.
Cool. And then the Verpet, just Google it. Don't be afraid. The FBI search, no problem. Don't worry. Verpet. VIRPED. Go Google it now.
Yeah. Verped.
Okay, and then the third point, only if it's possible, can I get a shout out from my army friend Carlos? Discovered that he's also a fellow Yalabater during reservist. So, since it's on our AMA, sure, shout out to Carlos. But
hey Carlos.
Yeah, my main question is Carlos, like a Singaporean called Carlos. Wow. Today also I met someone at an army with an interesting name. I guess maybe now the names of NS men or army folk of the newer generation are a lot more diverse.
It's probably all the
Carlos.
parents were from the Roberto Carlos.
Oh, maybe yeah.
That's why they're all coming out now. The Ronaldos and the
Carlos.
Ronaldinhos.
Can you imagine in army your outfield like, hey Carlos, pass me the what was the thing you used to dig the trench?
Chanko.
Yeah, correct. Hey, your rations, how, Carlos? Carlos, fall in, Carlos.
Obviously, someone hasn't been outdoors for a while. Huh?
No, I haven't been to reservist for a while.
I
I
haven't been
been
to
to
reservist.
reservist for a while.
You've been outdoors, but not to reservist.
Right, yeah.
But
Well, cool. Okay, then the
cool.
next question from Sudin. Oh, it was just a response lah. Sudin saying that they enjoyed our Mushroom episodes. Majority of listeners today know them from the Yalabad format, though, especially after the elections. Hence, the natural evolution to the format that has worked for them. Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. Okay, I'll just do the second question.
Sure.
From Big Sloth Boy. Was there a point in time when you thought the podcast wasn't going to be a success? And if so, what made you guys keep going?
Yeah, I mean, if you still haven't done it, like, listen to our first episode and just listen to how tentative we were.
Correct.
And how many times we kept apologizing for like, oh, we're new to this format, we're not very sure about it, all that. Even when I listen to it today, I'm like, wow, this is so funny, you know.
Yeah.
So we were never guaranteed of its success either. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were definitely points in time because we started off, it was a slow growth and the numbers back then were kind of shit, and I think it took us a long time, maybe only till like before the elections or something, where we realized, oh shit, there might be something here. But what kept us going, I think just based on our attempts at like YouTube and then Facebook videos and TV shows, first of all, it's important to just keep putting stuff out, because it will take a while before you will get your first hit. Like it happened to us with YouTube, it happened to us with a TV show, and then the second thing was also like you want to give it your all and just give it the best shot possible before you call it quits.
Yeah. And but I also want to shout out to, I think there were always, every time we felt like, oh, is it really worth doing, there'll always be like one or two DMs that would come in saying that, hey, you know, this is really awesome. I started to get my husband or my wife to also listen to it and all that. And so then bit by bit the word of mouth spread, and it kept us realizing that, hey, some people are really finding real value and worth in whatever we're doing, like, you know. So it's that encouragement kind of just keeps you going, like, even doing a podcast just helps you get one more subscriber, one more listener. You know, to me, that's almost worth it, really, lah.
Yeah, that's actually very true, because I know right from the start we always used to be in awe of the messages we got, because that was something that we never used to get on YouTube and Facebook. I mean, we would get a lot of comments, but when people talk about how they were impacted positively by the podcast, it really felt like, oh shit, yeah, even if we are impacting a handful of people like this, it is really something great, lah. So I guess a huge shout out to anyone who has ever messaged us, because it may have been at a time when we were thinking, what the fuck are we doing, man?
Yeah, correct. And what Haresh means, I think, is like when people are telling us like, oh, you know, I listened to your podcast with my dad when he was having a stay in the hospital, or, you know, when I was having a really bad day at work and I just came home and I was just listening to a podcast and it made me laugh, and that was the best thing. You know, just little stories like that. Or even people saying like, oh, you know, I'm in Australia, I'm so homesick. When I listen to you guys, and I realized, oh, actually, this is what people in Singapore are thinking and talking about. It makes me feel more at home. That's the kind of story. That's the kind of messages that really, like, you know, warm the loins of our what do you call it? The cockles of our hearts.
Yeah, warm the loins. Whoa, what kind of messages you getting, bro?
the cockles. Sorry, the cockles of heart. I was thinking the wrong place. My heart was in the wrong place.
Really?
Sorry.
Yeah. But it's true. Even from personal friends of ours who message us, yeah, man, like it really meant a lot. Like it really meant a fuck lot.
Yep.
Yeah, so that helped a lot. Yeah, on to you, man.
All right. Wow, relevant. Explore with June. As a monotone person myself, I would like to ask these questions for Terence specifically. Number one, as a monotone person, when do you realize you were monotone, and were there days that you did not feel like talking? Did your wife find any issue with your voice during the early dating phase? And did you have a hard time making friends? Number three, do you prefer to text rather than call because of your voice? Number four, do you try any speech classes to change the way you talk? Then question for Haresh, 1. Do you think Terence's voice was weird when you got to know him, but eventually got used to it? Apologies if the questions are sensitive, but as a monotone person myself, I'm just curious. Okay, Haresh, this one we are helping out somebody, who is probably I'm guessing you're younger than we are, and maybe have struggling with some issues about your voice lah, right?
Yeah.
When you say monotone lah. But what do you think? Can you explain what does monotone mean? Because for me, I don't sound monotone in my head lah.
Yeah.
But to other people, I do that, right?
So I mean, just to give some context about why I was giggling, it was more
Bully.
No, because I really want to hear Terence's thoughts on the questions because I think they are great questions.
No, they're very good questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was more giggling at what Terence is going to say because I can totally imagine how people, I mean, would resonate with this question lah.
Correct.
Yeah, because I mean, like, as much as I love talking a lot, I was never someone who used to talk a lot when I was younger. So there were times when I would look at people talking a lot. I'm like, hey, how the fuck they do that? Yeah. But you're saying I answer my question first. Or what do you want me to say?
No, I mean, maybe answer first lah. Because I think when monotone is different from saying that someone has a deep voice or so lah, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're asking me what I understand as a monotone voice.
Yeah.
I think for monotone voice, let's say for someone like Terence, his highs are not that high and his lows are not that low in the sense that he doesn't go like, oh my god, or just stuff like that, or he doesn't go like just like that kind of very heavy emotional thing. So he still has that emotional difference, but like it's not that extreme lah. So that's how I would classify monotone.
And it kind of reflects with my personality also.
Yeah, correct.
Doesn't fluctuate as much.
Yeah, got a lot of inertia.
Yeah, there's a lot of inertia in my before I get kanchong about things, there's a lot of inertia, or before I stop like making a fuss about things, there's a lot of inertia.
Yeah,
both ways lah. But I think he's asking very much a very almost aesthetically how having a monotone voice affects you in your life. And I'll admit, like it sucks because your voice is something that you can't. There's not much you can do. You're just born with it, right? And I mean, you definitely can take classes and all to get better at it lah. But if you have a voice like mine, which is halfway between nasal and halfway between deep, like it's then you're kind of like you're stuck with it already lah. I mean, there's only that much lipstick you can put on a pig lah, right? It's still a pig lah, right? I think the difficulties I had with monotone is that it's very hard. Sometimes people cannot, if you don't speak loudly at people, they don't understand. They can't make out what you're saying. So you actually need to force yourself to enunciate or be very animated deliberately just for people to understand what you're saying, whereas like I think there are people with really beautiful voices, like Haresh's voice is not bad, right? Like it's very crisp, it's very clear, and I mean the singers and some lawyers that we even know and things like that, they all have very good voices, very clear, very clarity of speech and tone and everything. The problem with being monotone is that sometimes you tell a joke and people don't even know you're telling a joke because just of the way you deliver it just sounds so deadpan, compared to say Haresh telling a joke. Because when Haresh is excited, he's excited. Yeah, it's got this like there's this pitch to it, right? But for me, when I'm excited, it almost sounds so very similar to like when I'm dead tired also. So it's a tough one to live with. But okay, I haven't really answered the question yet. As a but when did I realize I was monotone? I think somewhere probably in my teens, then I realized, oh shit, my voice is like it's like this. I'm never gonna be a singer or anything like that. Like maybe I'll be like the bass guy in the a cappella group. That's it. Well, that days I didn't feel like talking. No. I think once you realize that's just part of who you are, then maybe it's you kind of learn to live with it also lah. Did your wife find any issue with your voice during the early dating phase? I mean, she thought my voice was like always booming, but that's because I made an effort to speak loudly, to enunciate more loudly so that she can really understand everything I was saying. And did I have a hard time making friends? Yes, I had a hard time making friends when I was younger, but that had nothing to do with my voice, I think. It's to do with confidence and everything else. That's a whole other conversation, right?
Yeah.
And do I prefer to text rather than call because of my voice? I prefer to text rather than call, but not because of my voice. In fact, my voice actually helps me out during calls because it sounds more scary and serious when I'm on the phone, you know. But I prefer the text just because it's I just don't like having to have so much like confrontation straight away, you know, if I'm arguing with someone about something. And do you try any speech classes to change the way you talk? No, not yet. But yeah. And then, okay, Haresh, your question. Do you think his voice was weird and got to know him, but eventually got used to it?
Actually, no way. Like it was never something that struck me off the bat as being monotonous or anything. I think that's why, like, to the person who asked this question, I think maybe I'm not so sure how old you are or anything, but I can imagine when you're younger, this might seem like an issue. But what I've come to notice as you grow up is that, I mean, I hope you don't think you have to change the way you talk, because there is something that, like, sometimes I think my voice is like too like extreme also. So I don't think there's a right way of talking, and I think it's more about what you say with your voice, like, and I really mean it. Like, it was only when we recorded the podcast and then some people mentioned that I thought, oh, okay lah, Terence, his voice, his mannerisms and all is different to mine. But then we made it part of the dynamic lah.
But here's a follow up, right? I mean, I'm sure as an actor there are certain vocal exercises you do before you start your day acting or whatever, that help to activate but loosen the your the muscles in your mouth a bit, so that it's easier for you to hit certain words and everything lah, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you do in particular?
I think previously when I had some big acting roles, I can't remember what I used to say, but also as an actor, you kind of need to be able to have that range because you're acting, right? But some actors off the set, they actually sound quite monotonous. I'm sure, like, if you, Terence, had to act as someone who has more range or more fluctuations in your voice, you can, but it's just not your natural thing.
Yeah.
So I would say it's more important, that you enunciate well. And like what Terence said is true. Sometimes on different calls, we swap roles being the aggressor and the friendly person.
Yeah.
And I can say that when Terence plays the aggressor, his voice does help.
Yeah.
His voice does help. It does help. So I think even if you have a monotonous voice there, like, it's still just embrace it lah. And if people don't friend you because you are monotonous, then fuck them lah.
Yeah. So fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them, man.
Fuck them. So I mean, if you're looking for, like, because a lot of your questions, I think, actually point to more confidence issues lah. And I'm not ashamed to admit lah, that these things can be trained and can be taught. And then one like, for example, one resource that I've pointed out a lot of times on our podcast is the YouTube channel Charisma on Command. They make a lot of videos about, what if you are this kind of person? How do you command attention? What if you are an introvert? How do you speak in a room of people? And they give you very little tips that actually are very, very good tips I've found to be have a more commanding presence, be less self-conscious about your voice or your face or anything. And just go check them out, and you really see there's a lot for you of resources out there.
Cool. Yeah. But
cool.
Don't force yourself to be non-monotonous, man.
Monotony for the win.
Yeah, more monotony for the win.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, the next question.
Yeah.
Stoti returns. Stoti returns.
Yeah.
I think I'm this. Oh, okay. This is I think it's a general comment, and also asking for us to address something lah. This Stoti return says, I've listened to you guys enough to trust your intentions and characters. I think the topics of NFT is definitely worth a discussion, given the NFTs and crypto's overall impact on society. Having said that, the vast majority of NFT projects are outright scams. I'm a little concerned that entire podcast on NFT might legitimize it more than the topic deserves. I've had a brief encounter with Andy Chen in the past, and I also accept that he's of sound character and he truly believes in what he says. But I was able to immediately pick out some errors regarding his intel on stablecoin, for example. So to be fair, you've asked some challenging questions, but I think the big elephant in the room is the devastating impact the NFT industry is having on climate change and energy supply. So still no noticeable societal benefit. So is trying to ask us, maybe you guys can further explain why you feel NFT deserves a show on its own? Because NFTs have taken over ICOs as the scammiest edge of the blockchain industry. Why not talk about crypto as a whole if you have to explore this area? And Tiramisu Matcha agrees with Stoti Returns and wants to understand why we've ventured into this NFTs with Bubble Tea podcast.
That's a good question.
Heavy.
Yeah. I would say the reason why we started the NFT podcast is because there are so many scams out there. There's so much hype. There's so much froth that is bubbling up without merit, that we just wanted to understand it better, so that we can tell or at least have a more informed opinion on it lah. And I think like the reason why also for me personally I wanted to focus on NFT rather than crypto or blockchain in general is because I do believe in the philosophy of NFTs as a way that could impact the creative industry especially. I think we are not there yet at all, but I do see it more relevant than the other cryptocurrencies and all that lah. So that's where there was a general interest. We met someone who is kind of in the industry and we thought, oh shit, we are trying to read up and study this on our own. So there might be other people who might be wanting the info, but all the resources we found immediately went 0 to 100. So we just wanted to bridge that gap lah.
Yeah.
But what about you?
And, I'm really coming from a really I have zero position in crypto, NFTs and everything. So I'm really coming from that angle of really trying to understand it, and it's but it's also understanding that there was some synergy in how Andy and we were the vibe on our podcast and everything. We felt like, hey, there's something more there that we can do also. So we thought, okay, this is an interesting topic for us to talk about. The blockchain technology does seem to have bear some benefits for the creative industry in the future. I agree also there's a lot of scams out there and a lot of them are being exposed as we speak, right? So but that doesn't mean that you avoid the topic and don't talk about it entirely, right? Again, my interest in it is purely academic at this point. That's the thing, that we are also trying to as of now we're trying to ascertain, is there any societal benefit of NFTs, and maybe at the end of it we'll record 300 episodes and say, guys, don't invest in NFTs, they're terrible.
This whole show is a waste of time.
We spent 300 episodes talking about this shit that we're telling you, get off it now, but that to me is still a win. We've all that means we've gone through a process and we've understood it better already right?
Yeah. So just certain things that I wanted to address also. One thing was that starting an entire podcast on NFT might legitimize it more than the topic deserves. So I would actually say that's kind of the reason why we wanted to start a show on NFTs, to find out why everyone is saying that it is going to save the creative industry and all. And I think starting a show, whether it legitimizes it or not, it really is an exploration. So I think I would kind of push back on that statement a bit. The thing about the devastating impact this industry has on climate change and energy supply, yes, But to say broadly, there's no noticeable societal benefit. I think a lot of the technologies that we use this day and age as part of our daily lives started off also with people thinking, oh, is this a fad? Is this what is the benefit? And I think the internet itself went through that at the start. Like people were saying, why do we need a website? It's gonna be here like a fucking few days and blah. But it's just like it was the start of something like the next wave of technology, and I do feel that okay, this feels like there's momentum, there's the technology behind it. Why not explore it, lah? So I wouldn't say there's no noticeable societal benefit. Maybe not yet, but that's what we want to discover, man. And I think like what Terence said, like if we do a bunch of episodes and we realize, oh fuck, yeah, we are not going to be touching any of this, that is a win, lah.
Yeah. And when we say societal benefit, we also got to think of what society, right? For there are we know that there are societies out there for whom currency fluctuation is so scary that they rather put their money in crypto than anything, and use crypto for the transactions than anything else.
Yeah.
So depends on what society you're also thinking about, lah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the Western US society would have a certain opinion, but someone in Argentina might think differently, right?
Yeah. And if people listen to the podcast and they are able to make a more educated guess saying that, oh, I want to have nothing to do with NFTs, that's still a good thing, man.
Yeah.
That's still a good thing. So yeah, so I mean we are gonna keep it is still an experiment. Whether it turns into a thrice weekly podcast, we have no idea, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's experimenting, lah.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching the whole thing, the bloodbath that's going on right now.
That's why.
And we're also trying to understand like what is going on, right?
Yeah, correct.
And isn't that process of understanding it also, isn't that helpful for everyone to,
Yeah. So I mean, and the last thing you said, like you could already pick out some errors regarding Andy's intel on stablecoins. That's great. Then just if you want to share with us your thoughts on this Reddit and all, totally fine. Like we want feedback. We want people to educate us if possible. So if you feel that, just message us, man, and school us, please.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Cool. All right, your turn.
Is it my turn? Okay. The next one from Wales and other stuff. Can't believe I've been listening to more than 300 hours of this. It's essentially part of my weekly schedule now. I'm true Yalabad spirit. I now am unapologetic when I use Haresh and Terence's views in my everyday arguments. Fuck yeah. Okay, here are some questions. Any guests coming up? How do you all find the guests to appear in the podcast? Do you all have to do a sales pitch? I enjoyed Dr. Janel's episode and how you humanize a politician. Maybe another one soon. So on that note, I mean, sometimes for like the branded podcasts, that one comes through, like they reach out to us. Sometimes when we meet an interesting individual, we're like, hey, want to come on our podcast? Because like thankfully we do get the chance to meet some very interesting individuals, and whether or not there's another politician coming on soon, well, we are in talks. We are in talks with a certain someone. We have locked down a date, but we'll probably share more info when that happens, lah.
Yep.
Anything to add to that?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, then the second question, with previous suggestions of Yalabad in decline, was there ever a time both of you felt jaded doing the podcast, especially with your other productions, TV, etc., taking up time now? Would you like to take that?
No, I mean, when we took our break, right? When we took a hiatus.
In December?
No, not in December. It's like when we were shooting She's a Terrorist. We were shooting a TV show. We had to take a hiatus from the podcast because we just did not have time or energy to record and upload a podcast every week already.
Oh, that was back in 2019.
2019, yeah. Back in 2019.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't feel jaded about it. We felt like, we were always excited about the podcast, but it's just at that point in time was just really time and our kind of inexperience dealing with a first time with such a huge production and everything. Whereas now I think we can run like simultaneously a couple of productions and also record the podcast. Pretty confident about that. But it was a different era.
Yeah, and I would say definitely not jaded. I think we still feel that we are only scratching the surface of audio. And that's why we still want to keep doing it no matter what happens. Even if once in a while we can only do one episode a week. Yeah. But yeah, our intern has joined us. So now hopefully that helps with our process. And hopefully we can get back to doing more regular episodes.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next one. Hi from dat_rack.
Yeah.
Hi Terence, as an MMA fan, what is your all-time favorite MMA fight and your personal favorite MMA fighter?
Interesting. I'm very drawn to stories lah. So I don't, like the fight is just one element of it I follow. I actually enjoy like all the stuff that goes on before and after the fight, the story that they weave, and then the press conferences and even the weight cutting, drama and things like that. So I would say, okay, I think if you ask me like as an MMA fan, what's my all-time favorite MMA fight? I would say it was I wouldn't say it's a fight lah, but it was watching the whole the in 2019 lah, watching that whole series of fights of when Jorge Masvidal went on this insane run and knocked out Darren Till, knocked out Ben Askren, and then finally became BMF champion, crowned by The Rock after beating Nate Diaz at Madison Square Garden and all that. So it was just that whole year. It was just this magical run for a fighter, and I think that was it was a great story. I really enjoyed, as much as even now, like 2 years later, it's been kind of exposed that he's not really that great a fighter, But at least that for that 1 year, it really felt like anything that he touched just turned to gold. From all his post fight interviews, the 3-piece and the soda, and then the flying kick, and then all the super necessary in the press conference, the eating the pizza, the wearing the Scarface suit and everything. That whole year just felt like this crazy comeback story of a journeyman, a guy who'd gone through all the ups and downs and was probably going to retire as a mediocre fighter, suddenly shooting to superstardom and becoming one of the most popular fighters in the world, just off the back of like a couple of crazy knockouts, and then suddenly finding himself being crowned BMF champion by The Rock in New York City. It's just a crazy turn of events that could have only happened in 2019 lah, which was like the year before everything fell to shit lah, right? With COVID and all. So if you ask me, like that period was like I just watching that was very fascinating for me, cause like the people he beat along the way, like Ben Askren. Like Ben Askren I was also like, wow, this guy is pretty he did very well in one championship. How's he going to do in the UFC? And then boom, 5 seconds he's knocked out by the nobody Jorge Masvidal. So it's just a lot of crazy stories that happened in that year that made it one of my favorite years of watching MMA lah. And but he's not my personal favorite MMA fighter. I think for personal favorite MMA fighters right now, I to me it's very important that they also stand for something in outside of the cage. And Conor McGregor, Masvidal, they're not role models outside the cage at all, right? So right now, I think in terms of the overall picture, I think my favorite probably is either George St. Pierre or Daniel Cormier lah, between the two, because they're just good guys, very interesting people who have had amazing careers. Then they're both in Hall of Famers, and they just battled through adversity to get to the top, and they're very candid very open about sharing all the struggles that they've had along the way. And now watching them, retired and everything, is just like, it's pretty cool. I mean, they're not fighting anymore, but if you ask me, like, okay, who really represents the true spirit of the sport of MMA, I think those two guys are. Yeah.
Sounds like you can start your own MMA podcast, dude.
Oh yeah,
you just went on for 25 minutes without caring a shit about what I think.
Sorry. I didn't know. I mean, it was directly addressed for me. Like,
I know. It's fine. I could tell the passion oozing
Yeah,
out
you
from
can
your
tell,
voice,
you see.
man.
You see, you can
Once
be
you were not
monotone.
monotonous.
Yeah, you're not monotonous when you see when you find something that you really love, it will never be monotonous. So when you find a girl that you or the guy that you love, it's you will not be monotonous, and nobody's gonna care about your monotony.
Yeah, that's why. Case in point. All right, to the
Case in
person who asked the monotonous thing, explore with June. Find your MMA equivalent, man.
Okay, but I mean, I'll just throw it to you also lah. Since Haresh also, I think you also got watch a bit of MMA here and there and all lah. Right?
A little bit here and there, lah.
It's okay. Don't be embarrassed to say Conor McGregor. It's fine.
No. It's actually not Conor McGregor. So the favorite fight would be the Conor McGregor Nate Diaz one, the one that went all 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Because admittedly I haven't watched that much, but I would say my favorite MMA fighter is GSP because I've seen his fights, but I've also heard his philosophy behind fighting through the Joe Rogan podcast lah. So somewhat high level preference, but I thought, hey, this guy is fucking cool, man. And him being open about how he gets fucking nervous before each fight, and he's like one of the greatest of all time. And he said he avoids his family. He has dinner alone.
Right. And he just takes a drive around because he's just too nervous. I'm like, what the fuck? This sounds like any other person.
And he said he hated fighting. Like the day before the fight is his least favorite. The fight day is the least favorite day of the year or something. And I was like, oh shit. And this guy's one of the greatest of all time. Yeah. So yeah.
But
cool. Right.
Question.
Is it me or you now?
You. Yeah, it's me now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When brainstorming for a new name for the podcast, what were the close runner-ups to Yalabad? Perhaps another universe that might have been the name of the podcast instead.
Yeah. I tried looking for the brain blasting, like the ideas. I can't find it. I remember there were other options, but I can't remember any off the top of my head. But there were at least like 5 or 6. Right. I cannot remember. Do you remember? There were definite alternatives.
There were alternatives.
Yeah.
Somehow we just decided. I guess if anything, it was we just really weren't fans of the mushroom.
Yeah.
After a while.
After a while, we're like, this is a horrible name.
Horrible name.
So hard to pronounce. When people say, what's your podcast called? The Mushroom. They're like, what?
Like, how do you spell it? How do you write it? How do you do anything with it,
Yeah, it's like, Ministry of Funny, MOF, morph. It's like mushroom with a morph, so it's mushroom. Then we're like, why you call it? Then we're like, we have no idea why we came up with that.
Yeah. It's like a room that, that you talk until you get high, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. But I would say with the names that we came up for Yalabad was based on the premise of a podcast where we wanted to consider alternative perspectives. It's not saying we came up with a name, then we decided the context. When we were thinking about the names, we're like, okay, this show is going to be considering different perspectives. What can we call it?
Yeah.
But yeah, if we do find that one picture of the whiteboard, we'll put it up. But until now,
yeah. All right. Kim Ji-hoon asks... sorry?
There was some additional comments to that, but then
yeah. But they're just comments. Comments about asking about what Yalabad be if translated proper English.
Yeah.
They're comments lah. They're not really questions, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, what are your favorite Yalabad comments so far? Congrats on hitting 300 episodes.
From Kim Ji-hoon.
But a lot. I mean, every week, every session we talk about the favorite comments, right?
Yeah. Or like, how would you categorize your favorite comments?
I guess he's asking your favorite comments.
I mean, I would say my favorite comments are when we talk about an industry or topic in a world that we might not be the most familiar with, like healthcare workers or teachers or something, and someone from that industry or from that vocation shares their personal story on Reddit. That's when I'm like, oh shit, that is cool, because it's just learning a new perspective lah.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
Comments like that.
Yeah, I love that. I was second that. I love those comments that coming from people in the industry lah, whether it's healthcare or teaching on that. Cause, even for them to speak up about certain things also is there always feels like it's a little bit of a risk to it lah, right?
Yeah.
because they're not supposed to talk bad about their workplace and all that. Yeah.
Oh,
So
there's
it's-
what?
Sorry.
So
So it's a little bit like dangerous every time we get one of those comments.
yeah. But I will also say there's another category of comments that even though it sounds like, oh, it's just a pat on our shoulders and all, I really do enjoy when people tell us how they listen to Yalabad or why they like listening to Yalabad lah. I mean, of course it rubs the ego and all, but like just like last week or a couple of weeks ago, we were speaking to someone and she said that she remembers which episode she was listening to when she felt her baby kick for the first time. And that fucking
correct.
blew my mind.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. And I was
was
like,
pretty
oh
crazy.
my god, that's insane, man. Yeah, so I enjoy things like that lah.
Yeah. Oh, right. And the next question is from Missy Helpla. Is Terence planning on having another baby? Is Haresh Tilani planning on having children? So the answer is yes. And for Haresh?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, first I gotta get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, I have we are expecting a second kid already.
Oh,
So
is that the
it's-
first time you're mentioning on the podcast?
Yeah, I think it. I mean, it's kind of public, but it's also, I guess, just happy to share it on the podcast as well.
Yeah, second, and he's gonna call the kid Harish. That's what he also said. Yeah, that's what he told me, and I'm very honored, Terence.
Yeah,
I'm very
of
honored.
course.
Yeah.
So that's how this is. Just going back to the earlier question, this is how you not keep up with a work relationship with your friends. This is how you ruin those relationships. By insisting that their kids are named after you. Not you get offended at all.
Yeah, that's true. I will be offended, Terence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is a follow-up comment saying maybe get their wife's guest appearance on the podcast. Yeah, I think for my
we tried that
fiance,
already,
close.
tough.
Yeah,
Close.
tough. But I mean, maybe at the never say never, but yeah, tough.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice to also keep that part of our lives separate, lah. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Okay.
Original
Yes.
poster.
From Original Poster 2020. How about adding another female member for a female perspective? What do you think, Terence?
I've always entertained that thought of having an additional perspective, but you must remember that it also gives everyone a little bit less time to talk, assuming that we're still talking about an hour and a half or maximum an hour kind of podcast lah. Just less airtime for every individual lah, right? So I think it's when we have guests, you can see that we also we try to involve the guests as much, even talking about current affairs and things like that too. So I think that maybe the more important thing is that we might need to get more female perspectives on our podcast lah. Right. One thing I will admit is that yes lah, generally our guests tend to be male rather than female. Right.
Yeah, correct. But yeah, I think getting a permanent member, having a 3-person podcast, yeah, it is different lah. Like the nice thing about having one-on-one is that the person who is asked the question can't really go anywhere or wait for anyone else to answer for them. And that's the benefit lah. But yeah, like we do want to get more female guests on lah. Yes, definitely. But
I
as
mean,
a guest lah.
Yeah, we've enjoyed having Aware on as well, right?
Yeah, or like
Talking
people like
about
Mona and Kitanya and all.
Yeah, and they're talking about whether it's women's issues or very female centric issues, right?
Yeah, correct. But yeah, okay. Then next question from ZZ Way: when will the Yalabad merch drop? Always want to show my support to my favorite podcast with a physical product. Think it's being talked about at least since the first AMA. When the first Yalabad merch? When, Terence? When?
Don't know, man. We kind of need. I think, we need help lah. I'll just totally admit, like, we just don't have the brains or the capacity to go and deal with all the logistics involved with designing and making merch and all.
Yeah.
And then all the turnkey offerings that we've looked at or talked to they all just fizzled out lah, right after a while.
Correct.
Why at one point we were talking about not just like physical merchandise, but like even like something that you can consume as well. But also like haven't really heard much development since then.
Yeah, because I think like the physical product thing is one of those things that if you're working with a partner, you want to be able to guarantee like a minimum number if you're customizing like some product or you need to mold something. So yeah, it's one of those things that maybe we're sitting on a gold mine where we haven't realized yet lah. So I will echo Terence's statement that yeah, it is a field or an area that we haven't really dived headfirst into, and if anyone out there wants to partner or wants to kind of work with us to develop something, we are totally open lah. Because it would be cool to have Yalabad merch.
Yeah.
Maybe they will give us a light of bigger fire under our ass to have a next show as well, so people can buy it on site.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hearing someone wanting to show their support with a physical product, it means a fuck ton, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cheers to that.
It's true.
Okay, over to you.
Lambo 567. What were both your dream jobs growing up? What are your comfort foods? What was your dream job, little Haresh?
Dream job, footballer, professional footballer.
For real?
I mean, of course, like at some point you dream of playing professional football and all. Of course, I wouldn't say like I thought I had a shot. I mean, I think I was a pretty good player, but not like to make it professionally lah. Yeah. Apart from that, I didn't have any other dream job. You?
I think it was probably a scientist or something.
Wow.
Like I don't know, just discover shit lah.
Wow, scientist.
Back then, this what you just think of people in lab coats and they're just brewing shit in labs all day. That was like my dream job. But obviously, as I grew older, I realized this is not something I would enjoy doing.
Oh, scientist. Then your comfort food?
Comfort food, I would say probably spaghetti bolognese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like homemade or outside also?
Both also can. Because even in this past couple of months that I've been sick, I realized there's something I can eat even while sick and not not feel terrible at all. I mean it's not because I'm more pie. It's just that in Western food, like when we eat the Western food in the kopitiam and all that, that's one of the few things I always order. How about you, man?
I think more recently it is bak kut teh, man.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah.
You're becoming a Chinese uncle already.
I think last time it would have been chicken rice or some home cooked food, but I don't know, recently.
I mean, our age, it's just because of age. Really, all that stuff is getting too gelat already, right?
Yeah, maybe because the chicken rice or like I mean, Indomie is fucking great, but because at first I was thinking, okay, is it Indomie? But then I felt there's more indulgent, like comfort food where after I eat it, I feel like, okay, that was a good meal. I feel good. Yeah. Recently, it's bak kut teh, man.
Okay.
Yeah, bak kut teh is
so
fucking great.
you've gone to, I need something soupy.
Yeah.
The face of your life.
Yeah, correct. I want something peppery and soupy,
Yeah. Better for my stomach,
Yeah. It might evolve as it has in the past. But yeah, now I was thinking.
But you found a good place around your
area.
Got.
Yeah.
That also probably like adds to the fact why it feels like comfort food. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's important.
Bak kut teh, man. And I only started eating it like 3 years ago thanks to my fiance.
Huh?
Yeah, before that I always thought it was innards or something. Then I realized it's kway chap. But bak kut teh is like it's a magical thing, man.
Shit, and you never stay at the club until 4 a.m. That kind right?
No, I mean in the few times that I did, you go then you have Maggi goreng or something.
Oh yeah. You will not follow the group to bak kut teh.
Yeah, not bak kut teh.
Okay. Because I thought everybody would have had bak kut teh past midnight, in Singapore before.
Yeah.
As a dessert. Yeah.
No, man. That's in your Chinese bubble.
Correct.
You party with non-Chinese people, right?
Go. You. But
I left halfway.
Yeah, you disappear before midnight. That's the problem.
Correct.
And that was not a racist joke. I think I'm not making any racist jokes.
It's a true story.
He literally like disappeared from the club.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, now on to you.
Josh Kai.
We just have a few more left, yes.
Yeah. Where did Haresh learn "were you surprised" from? How did Terence handle it? For info, I started using the phrase "were you surprised?" and I can see how it's a nice phrase to use, but when my wife started using it, I could also tell how annoying it is. Wow, thank goodness, man. Thank goodness. I'm so glad someone else is also feeling it.
So I
It's
wouldn't
calling
say
you
I
out.
learned it from somewhere. It almost became like a gag lah.
Yeah.
Because
But is it something deliberate that you always do?
I never ask my
Last time.
friends. I never ask my
Yeah,
friends. I never ask anyone else. It's only because I know it riles you up and it makes me feel better than you lah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the main
Exactly.
motivation.
That's the whole point of that question, is to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, exactly. I will not deny it. Yeah, I love asking that
Yeah.
because I
So,
immediately
but
feel superior.
yeah, I do not recommend you using that with your wife. Yeah, it's not.
Actually, I think I have used once or twice and it did not end well.
Yeah, it does not end well.
Yeah, it does not end well.
It is a very condescending question from the start, and there's no right answer. There's no smart answer to it.
Correct,
You know,
correct,
like you
correct.
say, oh, why should we be surprised? You know,
Yeah.
or the other answer would be, yeah, of course I was surprised. Then it just makes you sound like an idiot, lah. Right?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's a win-win
so
question.
the win-win question for one, no, for one side, lah.
Short-term, short-term gratification, win-win.
Yeah,
But long-term
it's
could be damaging.
damaging for a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So that was my two questions. Yours
Yeah.
again?
Okay,
you.
so you had the next one, what? I asked the one before that.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
All things quaint. What are your thoughts on the Melissa Faith Yeo, Andy Chen, Kate Pang Ruhaha? Given that you are also working with Andy on another podcast.
What are your thoughts?
Yes. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Andy. I think Andy, he's our friend and all. Well, we're just hearing. I think right now we've only heard one side of the story mostly, and then my I think, but just stepping away from that, I think my biggest bugbear about the whole thing is that it was from 10 years ago lah. So anyone who brings up something from 10 years ago to put it on social media today, when the world has changed so much in 10 years already, you know. And when it comes and it's talking about a relationship thing and all this, I'm like, wow, this is there needs to be a statute of limitations on relationship issues that you can bring up on social media. Like a certain number of years, beyond a certain number of years, you cannot bring up that problem anymore already lah. Yeah. But again, we've only just heard one side of the story, so I'm sure Andy and his wife will have their own version to tell, right?
Yeah, and I mean, when we did record, like, it was around the time of the article, so we didn't shy away from it. But I also didn't want to probe because at this point there's been what we see in the news, which like what Terence said is one-sided, and yeah, I think it's one of those things that they're still settling their stuff. So I intentionally did not ask questions, and I think for you as well,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, if it develops, if there's something, then sure. But for now, man, we want to respect their privacy as well.
Yeah. So yeah, to me, it's not even. Yeah, it hasn't reached the status of a brouhaha
Yeah,
kind of thing yet, lah. Yeah, because there's really not much to work off on.
yeah, correct. And I mean, so far hasn't been anything since those few. So we see lah. We see.
Yeah.
So no thoughts yet.
All right.
Cool. On to me, right?
Yes.
The question from Raikota. What is one of your all-time favorite movies? Don't say Top Gun. Have you guys ever thought of ending the podcast at any one point? Do you guys still deal with the thoughts of what could have been if you continued with your old jobs? So maybe one by one, like what is one of your all-time favorite movies?
Manhattan. Yeah, a Woody Allen movie. Yes.
I would
Don't say Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, no. That one is. If they ask what is the all-time favorite, then that will be my answer.
Oh, yeah.
All-time favorite. One of my all-time. I would say What We Do in the Shadows, the movie by Taika Waititi.
The original, right?
The original.
Sparked off everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was just he already become like a famous filmmaker in New Zealand, made some indie films, but that was the first one that you watch it, you're like, oh shit, this guy's a genius. You can watch the trailer online. Okay, then the next question. Have you guys ever thought of ending the podcast at any one point? I would say for me, firmly, hell no.
No, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like
no.
ending the podcast, no. There isn't an end game that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing, yeah. We've never even talked about it. It's always been,
Yeah.
okay, how can we sustain it?
Yeah.
Yeah, how can we sustain it? Okay, then do you guys still deal with the thoughts of what could have been if you continued with your old jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you go ahead? Do you?
I would say not my old job, but I will say that in tougher times in the past when I meet my friends in different industries, and then yeah, I won't deny that I feel like, oh shit, wow, like what we're doing right now, it's tough lah, and there's still so much to do, but it's always very fleeting lah. The moment I get back into like, okay, creating stuff, I think I cannot imagine doing anything else. But yeah, I won't also didn't say that it's all roses and peaches and sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, the flip side of what could have been is that what could have happened to you if you continued with your old job also, lah, right? I mean, I was getting heart palpitations. I was 26 or 27 years old and seeing a doctor for like irregular heartbeat and throbbing in my eyeballs and stuff like that, And then, I was just really, just very beholden to the job more than anything else, like just for the pay and the prestige and all that, right? But I was hating who I was and spending my any waking hour I had like trying to do something creative and all. So yeah, I think that there's always, you always think only of the rosy things of what could have been. You'd be sitting by a beach enjoying your 6-figure salary and sipping Mai Tais and whatever. But there's also the other side of it, lah. Like I don't go any dark places like I've taken my life, whatever. But I mean, probably be quite depressed, lah, right? And then you'll be dealing with thoughts of what could have been if you had actually left your job, lah, right? And that's the thing I didn't want to have to deal with, lah.
Yeah. And I think like one thing that I took away from Casey Neistat, that one of my favorite YouTubers, was at one point he shared this his personal story of how he looks back at his own life, and he talked about some sort of Tarzan methodology lah, where if you imagine like everyone thinks life is from point A to point B. He said no lah, for him it is you start off at point A, and point B is like, okay, you could draw a straight line to it, but life is more like, okay, from point A you go all the way right, like you swing like a pendulum right, then you swing pendulum left, then you swing, you're moving forward at the same time, but with each time the angle of your swing gets less and less lah. So you might still reach a point B, but it's not a straight line lah. And I think he used that to think about his life retroactively, saying that everything he did in his life has led up to him to who he is at that point, and he was happy with who he was at that point in time. So he looks back everything like, okay, he had to do all that to become the person he is like. And I think about, am I happy with the person I am now? Yeah, generally quite happy. So then if it took going through all that, I always feel that even when I used to like never get dates or be horrible with like like trying to find a girlfriend and all that, in some way it led me to comedy lah. So I think that helped me not hold on to what like thoughts of, okay, what could have been if I went that way, because like what you say, like there can always be a dark side if I went down that path. So at this point I'm like, no regrets at all, man.
Yeah, and then just a couple of weeks ago I just woke up one morning and I was like, okay, day 6 of the writer's room. We're quite tired already. We've been doing this for 6 days. Today we got to crack the story. Oh, I'm so tired, should I just continue sleeping in bed or whatever, rather than rushing to the office? I still need to bring my kid to school. Then I just asked myself, like, imagine like I gave my that finance the previous self of my finance self lah. I told him the opportunity. Tomorrow you have a chance to work on a writer's room where you just sit there and you just crack a story about about this interesting topic and with like a group of other talented writers. what would you give for that? I think I would have like dropped everything and I would have even paid money for the experience. Or, that was how desperate I was to do it at that point.
Yeah.
So I look at it today, I'm like, okay, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually living that dream right now already, lah.
Yeah.
So why would I look back and say, hey, I'd rather be doing what I was doing back then, Yeah.
But I mean, just to clarify also that it did take a lot of sacrifice, and it still continues to take a lot of that, lah. But
Of course.
but it's worth it, lah. It's worth it.
It's worth it, lah.
And in part it's due to the podcast and things like the podcast and things like the community that really keep us going, lah.
Yeah, correct. That's right.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and next one from ZZ Way as well. Just like to check if there's any new podcast, video, media content coming with your announcement to collaborate with Rice Media back in November. I respect Rice Media for their take on news and hope this collab can bring new ways for their content to be shared and discussed. Blog posts are one-way traffic of news and quite tiresome to read. So, I think that is still kind of like in development. Yeah, so we've also been trying to push that along, but I think it's still in development. Like, it's taking time. Yeah.
I mean, I respect the Rice guys a lot. They're trying a lot of different things to sustain themselves in a very competitive space.
Yeah.
So I'm sure. I mean, we signed it with the intention that it's sort of a like understanding that we will try and find something to work together, and it will take a bit of time. But I'm sure something will come together.
Yeah. So no immediate plans, but we are on very good terms with them and still discussing.
That's right.
Yes. Oh, are we down to the final three?
Final three. Shall I bring it home?
Yes, bring it home, man. Bring it home.
Okay. Mama Jamba, been quite a new listener, I think. Not sure if this is in time for the 300th episode. Yes, you are, but since it's almost the halfway point of 2022, how are your New Year resolutions going? Number 2, they say comedians and creatives are depressed and or cynical inside. Do y'all agree, and how do you balance those negative feelings and traits? Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are your New Year resolutions coming along, Haresh?
Actually, I don't really make New Year resolutions.
Oh yeah.
So I don't have anything to update. I would say there are things that along the year I have been thinking, oh shit, okay, I want to do this. I want to do that. So it's more like project based. So right now I would say the one thing that I've been mulling about is to get back into some sort of dedicated workout program because of some like neck shoulder issues I've been having the past few months. I really stopped kind of doing like any sort of strength training, and it's fucking annoying me. So that's my new project, which I'm thinking of starting soon. That's the only thing I can update. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not big on New Year resolutions. In fact, I can't remember if I made any. So I probably didn't make any. But I think, I really wanted to be more physically active this year. But it's been hard. The last 2 months have been like in and out of like illness and taking care of family and all that as well. So I but the good thing is that I do try and snatch like a walk here or just shooting hoops a little bit here and there. And I've tried to make it as easy as possible, where I can just grab my shoes and the basketball and just run to the courts for like half an hour, that kind of thing. A bit like how I read like Obama does it lah. He always like when he was president, he was always like playing with his aides also lah, as in playing basketball with his aides. He was just like, okay, everybody, I need to play basketball now, and then they just change up for a bit, and then they just go play for like half an hour, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh shit.
So the big C-level sweet people, important people, they understand the importance of just like
physical
doing
activity.
stuff for the sake of, for the joy of doing it, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to do that. Yeah.
You still got half a year to get that physical activity up, man.
Correct. Yeah. It's a never-ending process, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Then the second question: comedians and creatives are depressed and cynical inside. Do you all agree, and how do you balance those negative feelings and traits?
How, Terence? Do you agree or not?
No, I don't think they're all depressed or and or cynical. I think a lot of their comedy comes from very human experiences that are very painful and very emotional, right? But doesn't mean that they can't process it and then they remain depressed and cynical inside, lah. But I agree. And how do you balance those negative feelings? That's what you're doing with comedy, oh? You're balancing it by writing about it, by being vulnerable about it, by laughing at it and how ridiculous the whole thing is also, lah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it is less about being depressed or cynical, but just, I mean, at least from the comedians I know and the actors that or like the people in comedy, I think they really tune into what tickles them or what pisses them off or what hurts them. And sometimes when that goes overboard, then it can turn into like extreme depression or cynicism. But yeah, so it's almost like you are really peeling yourself back, peeling the layers to expose the vulnerable side. And I would say how to balance those negative feelings, in addition to creating content around it, is to just have good people around you. Because I can imagine if you are with people who maybe when you're being damn vulnerable, they just fucking like put you down even more, that can be like a spiral downwards. But if you have good people around you, it helps being more in tune with your feelings, more manageable.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, it's damn important because I think I mentioned this on a podcast, but the more acting stuff I do, the more I try and become a better actor, the more volatile I become in real life to a certain extent. And yeah, having people around me to kind of ground me does help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I think you mentioned it before, but I just remember being in our writer's room the last couple of weeks, and at a certain point, everyone was just being really vulnerable about a lot of their childhood experiences and things like that coming out, and it was very cathartic, lah. At the same time, almost like quite awkward, lah, right? For everyone involved, but yeah, I think that's just a part of the whole creative process, huh?
Yeah.
You got to be willing to write what you know, and what you know is what you feel,
And if we were assholes, we could have like hidden camera recorded the whole thing and then made videos like, oh my god, look at this person and his mommy issues and all that. But we didn't. But it was a safe space.
Yeah, safe space, correct.
All right.
Taufik J993 was just wondering if you guys will ever do episodes where you discuss brief multiple news headlines, which you probably wouldn't dedicate a full episode to. And these would be mostly wacky topics, and they'd be good especially for slow news weeks, where maybe just an update episode giving us update episode talking about some of these topics and talking cock might be nice for the listeners who enjoy the thrice weekly uploads. I guess what he's asking is just, can you do like shorter snippet episodes that maybe just discuss or riff off a few
lighter
headlines?
Topics,
yeah. What do you think of the idea?
I mean, I've thought about it before. I know we have discussed it, but I don't know, like I enjoy going deep into one topic because that's where you can get into the meat of stuff, and that's where you can peel off layers and reveal stuff that maybe other people have missed. If it's just scratching the surface, I feel so many people do that on social media and in media publications in general. So I would say it doesn't warm the cockles of my loins.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of you want news updates and all. It's very easy to get whether from reading or from YouTube and all these kind of things, or reaction videos and things. But I think that the way we choose topics is actually quite something I'm quite proud of also, in the sense that we choose topics that we know will challenge ourselves or challenge each other a little bit to do a bit more research, to think a bit deeper, to have something to say about it, right? And then it can be topics that we are completely unqualified to talk about. That's where we are pressured to actually go and read up a little bit more, and then that's why we feed you this treasure trove of archives of articles to that we refer to in every episode. Shame on you if you haven't checked through all those articles, but we put a lot of effort to find those articles.
Yeah. So I guess I mean it is important to us to create content that you can't find elsewhere, and that means going deep into a topic and talking about perspectives that no one else is sharing, which is harder to do if it's just like a update kind of thing.
Yeah, like a Saturday Night Live, weekend update kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's just a different format. It's
Different.
And the thing about podcasts, because people are so used to our format, the moment we change it, then we also don't want people to, like, when a new episode comes out, then it's like, oh, is it going to be this format or that format? We just want to keep it. If it ain't broke, why fix it, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And
Final.
we are at the final question after this
Final
marathon
question.
session of recording.
Yeah.
What's both of your MBTI? Curious to know, since we spent so many hours listening to you guys, we were wondering if we guessed it right. Wombat
it's from
snores. Yeah.
Wombat snores. Do you know your MBTI?
Actually, what is MBTI?
I don't know my MBTI also.
What is MBTI?
No, it's one of those personality tests lah.
Oh, the Myers and Briggs Foundation.
Yeah.
test.
You thought something like
yeah.
BMI or something.
At first I thought so. That's why I was like, oh
Then
shit.
you're like,
I
hey,
have to talk
fuck
about
lah, this is
weight.
damn personal. Okay? MBTI is the Myers-Briggs type indicator.
Okay, personality test.
got people there trying to guess our Myers-Briggs
Trying to
type
guess,
indicators. But I haven't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I've
haven't taken
taken
it.
this before in school and all that, but I haven't taken it any time in the last 10 years or anything.
Oh, maybe we should do it together with like everybody just post their. Because it's not one of those things that is meant to be like super private, right? You take it to let the people around you understand you better.
Correct.
Yeah, but maybe we should have an MBTI party. Yeah.
Okay, as long as it's not a what's the BMI party.
BMI party. What the fuck?
That is not the kind of party that I will go to.
BMI party.
Yeah.
Not before you do your the second half of 2022 where you get your physical activity to superhuman levels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are you very big on this? Do you believe in this, like, personality tests and
Actually,
traits?
over the past few years, I'm starting to realize that I think there is some value because certain traits are like, yeah, everyone's unique and all that, blah 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 blah. Everyone's special, blah 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 blah. But there are certain things that are consistent across a lot of people, and I do think that these sort of tests just help you understand people better, and to me, anything that helps people understand each other better is something that's worth some attention, lah. You're like skeptical as fuck.
Generally skeptical because usually people are, there's a lot of bias when they answer these questions, and there are people who answer them knowing that it will push them towards the personality type they want to display themselves to be. You know, and as much as you think I'm as objective as possible, it's impossible to be objective on yourself, lah. It's impossible. The one thing that I think I realize everyone is on a spectrum, and no one really knows where they are. It's just the level of self-awareness, lor. Some people just really not self-aware about their strengths and weaknesses or what, and some people are hyper-aware, and when they work together, it's a big problem, you know.
So remember the one trait I said earlier about Terence having a lot of inertia to everything. I can totally imagine me telling Terence, hey, let's do the MBTI. You'll be like, fuck you lah, okay, it's a waste of time and all this shit,
like,
blah blah.
Dude, I studied this shit in university. I should know it
They'll
better.
be like, Terence, just take it. What is the downside? It'll take you 15 minutes. You know, we might understand each other better. Why not? And you'll be like,
15 minutes
yeah,
of your
no.
life you will
but-
never get back.
Yeah,
Like, buying, like listening to some bullshit. No. I'd rather spend that 15
I'm not
minutes
even gonna
like going
try.
for a hike.
I'm not even gonna try and ask you. I might do it. But yeah, I'm not even gonna try and ask you.
I think it's a very good common couple activity, lah, right? You know, couples will do this kind of thing.
Don't know whether a couple activity, but yeah, I've been curious also lah. Like this is not the first time someone has brought it up.
You mean your as your as you've never done this when?
I think
with
I've done it way back lah.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, about with your fiance or anything. You never had to.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, no. Have you?
No, I've not. But
Yeah.
I never attended any religious classes or anything with my wife.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like, we went for the engage encounter thing lah, which is that today. But that one there was no MBTI course. It was just more asking questions about values and all, which I did find useful lah.
Yeah,
It wasn't very religious or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. But holy shit, that's been 2 hours, man.
Yeah.
On a
Wow.
Thursday night.
Crazy.
2
But this
hours.
had to be done because there's so many questions.
Ooh,
Yeah.
this was a marathon, man. I guess one episode, lah. We can keep it as one episode, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But so, what do you think overall of this whole Ask Me Anything?
I enjoyed the questions, man.
Yeah. I always enjoy. I mean, we when we get comments, it feels like sometimes it can feel very one way, lah, right?
Yeah, correct.
So I appreciate people asking questions, especially the questions about monotonous voices and all that, lah.
Yeah, and the more personal ones, I think that's why we wanted to do this episode. So I don't know, maybe for the 400th episode, just go deeper, man.
Yeah, maybe,
Just go deeper. Whew. That was 2 hours. Wow, man, 2 hours.
Yeah. So do we have the? We are going to end with the one choke thing, right?
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Okay, can.
Should definitely still end with one choke thing because that always leaves a good taste in everyone's mouth.
Correct.
At the
Okay.
end of it, lah.
Okay.
So
would you
maybe I'll
like
go first.
Yeah, can.
Yeah, my one choke thing is a new YouTube video by one of my favorite YouTubers, Mark Rober. He basically does a new office tour of his new workshop / studio / gladiator arena, and I mean, compared to all the typical my $1 million office tour that you see on YouTube from YouTubers and all that, his is really pretty epic. And I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but there's like literally I don't know if you remember the show American Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's always this segment where they'll be firing tennis balls as people run from obstacle to obstacle.
Yeah.
So he has that in his YouTube studio, and then he even got one of the original American Gladiators to test out the device, Nitro. So yeah, check out the video.
He got Nitro.
Yeah. It's
Oh
pretty
my
crazy. I mean, my
God.
Nitro is like, I don't know, 60 or something right now already.
Shit, he got Nitro. Oh no,
Yeah.
oh my god. I remember the American Gladiators, yeah.
Yeah. So do check out his crazy office tour, lah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. My one shock thing was because recently we were reading some treatment sent to us by someone we are collaborating with about like a spy movie kind of like comedy thing, and I just remembered that I just rewatched certain scenes from one of the funniest movies I've ever watched called Spy, and there was a clip about the outtakes from that episode. So unlike other movies where the outtakes come from people messing up their lines or something, the funny thing here was that the director of that show, Paul Feig, he does this thing where after an actor says a line, he feeds them a line that they have to say on the spot. So they haven't seen the line yet, and often it's something ridiculous, lah. So it was just funny seeing the actors hearing the line for the first time and just laughing their asses off at the fact that they are going to have to say that on camera and coping with that, lah. And I thought, oh shit, that's a cool way of directing. Like, you throw off. I mean, you give the actor a funny line on the spot. It just adds a little sense of improvisation, and it was just damn entertaining. I didn't know he directed like that.
I see.
Yeah, so it's quite cool, quite cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it just adds a bit of like and yeah, like you see Jason Statham, Melissa McCarthy, all just losing their minds at the ridiculous lines that he feeds them, lah.
That's cool. So this is a video on YouTube, is it?
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, cool, man.
Nice.
2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
All right.
But now that your voice is back in order, yeah, we'll be back discussing the news sometime very soon.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Cool, man. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you've made it this far, you're a true fucking Yalabad.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.